domoro kadiate
boy janno sikes restaurant
e sai nakko be ninna dimba domoro kala janno
domoro seneyata adiyata topotoro fanan kendema bije luntan during tamala abeka domoro ki janni adi manda wala de takawe bijele anim fanan ka fadi jang ikono e fa e ka fa minne ko pastry anim bakery iko fanan be kalele badde lomba conference lomba workshop lomba ye fo fendin lo dunia kono domoro betama nyillom international o tewoda number 1
amanke ba domola jandama
esa domo jang is atariya
wo mu kubandi
sa nakko sa futandin
oto sa nakko be mu CK's restaurant
dabana janna mu yat ni manje dorom bijam
aban
CK's restaurant, known for best quality food and customer satisfaction.
diwli lanni maro lanni
fop lanni
awa joni mi anda honno gerdeten e ngaldo sabu e ngaldo Ibrahima jonnal taw joni mi anda se yahay kapitiki nyawloden ha humpondire e makko est ce qu'on non e warude
waden no
ane ko de Ibrahima ma ko to woni
mo Amerique
ko America woni kede humpitaki fibe musibe men balu
Hello everyone, welcome to the Fatou Live, and this is the 11th edition of the International Republican Institute's Town Hall Meeting. A series of Town Hall meetings has been conducted online and focusing on different areas of the draft constitution, which has been rejected at Parliament not long ago. And today we are on the 11th edition, which we specifically looking at the by-elections that are supposed to be held or that are being held today at the Niamina East constituency, as well as the Kerr ward in the Jokaro district. And I am your moderator or your host for this particular town hall meeting, Mohamed Sise. And today with me in the studio here is a representative from two political parties in the Gambia, prominent political parties for that matter. I have with me in the studio Mr. Essa Dampha, who is a political commentator and currently a member of the National People's Party, where he serves as one of the party's youth leaders. And to my right, I have Mr. Amadou, who is the Public Relations Officer of the Gambia Democratic Congress, GDC. Welcome to the show, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, as you have been briefed, this particular town hall is organized by the International Republican Institute, and today we're focusing on the by-elections that are being held at the Niamina West constituency as well as the Kerr ward. And we are discussing everything that revolves around the election, the build-up of the elections, and then what is expected of people to know as far as these elections are concerned. But as a point of departure, I will just allow each of you to introduce yourselves properly before we get deep into the show.
Thank you very much. I am Essa Dampha from National People's Party, known as NPP. One of the founding members of the party. So I'm here today on behalf of the party to discuss, according to moderator, which is International Republican Institution. So today basically is about the by-election which my party is a party to it. This NPP. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Essa. And Mr. Kerr?
Yeah, thank you very much. Like you just said, to viewers, we're very happy to be here again to talk to you regarding the by-elections happening both in Niamina West and in Jokalu Kerr Ward. We're happy to be here. My name is Amadou, Public Relations Officer of the GDC. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kerr. And it's a pleasure having both of you on the panel. And yeah, before we just get deep into the program, we just send this message to everyone following us online that you are free to send your comments or contributions or questions live on the page. That will be addressed later at the climax of the show. And also, you can forward them to the WhatsApp number 586-8404. These are the platforms or avenues through which you can forward your questions and comments if you are following us live on Kerr Fatou. At the same time, we also humbly request everyone that is making comments on the platform to exercise decorum and to also regard opinion, diversity of opinions. And the same message is extended to both of you that are here today, that we would not entertain or would be happy to hear any sort of derogatory remarks or demeaning remarks to that effect. So we seek your indulgence to that effect. I hope that is a nice start, right? All right, now moving on. We are aware that these are elections that are both at parliamentary level and at local government level. Niamina is being a constituency where in January 2020, we saw the demise of Mr. Dampha, who died in Morocco in Casablanca. To that effect, IEC had to conduct by-elections to fill the vacant position, but then that couldn't be held due to the coronavirus pandemic according to the IEC. And at the same time, in March, in the same year, also we saw Mr. Alpha Khan, who was the ward councillor for the Kerr ward in Jokal district, also resigned, tendered his resignation to the IEC, to the council or the government authorities there. And to that effect also, IEC was notified to conduct by-elections. But interestingly, both of these positions were held by GDC candidates. Niamina was held by a GDC candidate, and was Kerr ward also held by a GDC candidate. So this is interesting, and I think we will be having a very, very interesting discussion today. As a point of departure, to both of you, let us talk about how the selection process happened, of candidates happened. Did your party conduct primaries to nominate candidates, or did they just handpick the candidates that are currently vying for positions at the different regions? Or let me just start with the Niamina West constituency. How was your nomination exercise done?
Thank you. The nomination went through primaries. One thing that's a unique way of selecting candidate that has been, been our policy as a party even since 2016 to date, is like we believe the people always have to select their candidates. It is incumbent upon the people to send their reps wherever they're supposed to be. And then for that reason, when there are openings like this, the party, invites through the executive at that district, who led whatever that happened, organized the primaries from within that district, people that wanted to vie for the position. Different people came, up, and then there were primaries. Alhamdulillah, one of them was selected, and they were voting. In fact, there was voting involved, and then one happened to get, the highest number of votes, and finally emerged as the candidate for the GDC. So the process was all handled by our local executive there in the district, that run everything with the chairman of the region and all that. So there was a primary. People were given openings, were given chances, to come and vie for the position. That's how it goes. The same thing also goes for the Kerr ward. Everything was run locally, not the party at the executive level here nationally, but everything was done locally by the councils or the executives that we have on the ground here.
Perfectly right. And I'll come back to see how that matches your party values in vis-a-vis democracy. Exactly. Let's move to Mr. Karam. How was election done for at your party level?
Is it Dampha? Oh.
Dampha, sorry.
Yeah. Thank you very much. It is a basic principle of NPP that the grassroots people people's voice need to be heard, because this party is a grassroots-based party. It is formulated from the grassroots base. So therefore, any decision making, you have to factor the grassroots people. And to that effect, that's why it was very contentious. Really, the selection process was very, very, very contentious, because we had about 12 contendants who want to vie on our ticket. So therefore, it was like a very tough, process to select one out of that 12. So unfortunately, before the process started, one of the contenders has passed away. It left 11. So we also did the primary among those 11s, and we tried to selection process was done free and fair unless then we came to select our final candidate, which is our flag bearer for Niamina West constituency parliamentary seat, which is Honorable Biram So. The process was really transparent and very fair. That's why all of the 10 candidates, none of them, felt been marginalized or treated unfairly. So that's why they all embrace Biram So, and they comes together to work hand in glove to campaign vigorously for him, to be able to win the seat. So it is like initially it was very tough, but eventually, everything, that's what makes our campaign even very smooth, because we were anticipating that, if you have 11 people who vie for one seat, maybe at least 5 or so will say, no, this is not fair. So we're going to rebel against these things. So you can, in democracy, sometimes you have such an experience. But for our case in Niamina, none of such occurred. So all the 10 candidates, came together, support Honorable Biram So. In the campaign trail, they all share views and their expertise to see that Biram So will win the day.
So that was sort of a primary that you did down there?
Yeah, it was a primary that was conducted among the 11 aspirant candidates who vie on our ticket, NPP ticket. As I told you, so the process went, they keep on dropping until we have our final selected candidate, Honorable Biram So. Yeah.
Great. Thank you very much, Mr. Dampha. Now moving to Mr. In fact, it's a question for both of you. And we have seen your representatives or your selected candidates for Kerr Award are all female. You may correct me if I'm wrong.
Male.
You have male there.
No, we have female.
You have female.
Yeah, one, yeah.
Yes. For Niamina,
Kerr, we have female. Kerr,
Kerr, you have female.
Yeah.
And no, I'm talking about Kerr Award. Your candidate there is a female.
It's a female candidate. Yeah.
And you, the same thing applies to you, right?
Yeah.
So we want to know, how did you arrive at this decision of selecting female candidates, and do you regard that as very inclusive?
Yeah, for us at NPP, this party is all inclusive. This is a party, that is built, to embrace everyone. Depending on despite our diversity, despite our, ethnolungies and the regional base or stuff like that, we give a very pivotal role to women's participation in decision-making process. That's why, when there was a 3 candidate who vie for Kerr vote. So, but one withdrew. So the other one is like a male and a female. So what we did was just before even conducting primary, we spoke to the man, telling him that, well, this is, an opportunity for the party and for people of Kerr to have female representative at this point. So, and the party also take it seriously to include women, to include everybody, being an old age and young age, so that it's be like fitting for everybody, all the citizenry in the country. So without much push and pull, the man, agreed not to even go to primary with the lady. He said yes. He really consented that he can leave the position for our gay, then eventually our dear emerged as our candidate. So basically, we did not conduct any primary when it comes to Kerr ward. It was like a consensus that
love like fire. Wow. Love like fire. Xam ngeen rek affaire bi xam ngeen fan la? Skincare la 2020 lañ wax de. Waaw. Fii nag mooy Kerr fan Kerr zero tache. Perfect skin. Skincare saa su ne rek niñ ko dee defee rek loo lañ soxlaati rek maanaam bu dee am problème ci seen skin yéen xam ngeen fan la fii ngeen di ñëw suma xarit yeeg am di jàmm yi nga xam ne taas daf lañ sonaloon xam nga doon xeesal bel laka xum éneew ma lañ ko nag waaye just in case comme ni ko gars yi di waxee rek en cas just in case loolu xew xam ngeen fi ngeen di ñëw Skincare Plus si yu baax rek la ñoo dox nag ay baax rek fu ne la ñoo dem ci réew mi di lañ indi rek nag products yu baax du Paris du Italie du USA du fi mu nekk nii sax boole nañ ci nag Sweden fu nekk lañ leen a indi les products bu dee tamit nag da nga ñuul rek ñu lay jamaa natural beauty that melanin dripping we do have stuff for you as well emuñ si skincare products rek ñu ngi ci cuub yi tamit fu ne la ñoo jaar in fact sax last commercial bi ñu defoon waxuñ leen woon ne dañoo dox ci ay kawar 9A grade rek nag waaw we do have bundles as well hair si lu ne la ñoo dox ñun ñu ngi ci rafetal jigéen rek luy taaral jigéen rek waaw boo leen di tukki tamit bëggoon rek classic suitcase ñu dañoo dox ci ay Samsonite duñ dee indi any brand of suitcases though other than Samsonite comme li ma dee wax rek boo eggee airport diri Samsonite dafa am nuñ laa xoolee waaw ngeen ne lan nag waaw skin ci moom la ñu gën a xamee nag skincare products ci moom la ñu gën a xamee ñu ngi dox tamit benn tey tamit si ay dàlla man waaye man nag skincare mooy suma specialty xam nga rek jigéen bu sa xar kanam réglé loo def mu jag am nañ Patricia Reiner Kiwi Eye the whole range Lighten Up Gold Tomatine I mean the list can just go on and on and on and on lépp loo xam ne rek luy taaral jigéen la ci yooyu rek la ñoo dox Skincare Plus nag emuñ si Gambia rek ñu ngi United States ñu ngi Gambia fii ba pare bu dee yaa ngi anywhere in Europe mun nañ la ko mail within 3 days rek ñetti fan rek nga jot say diw emuñ si loolu rek dañ laa consult tamit balaa ñu laa jaay diw dinañ def a free consultation pour wax la rek exactly li nga xam ne moo méngoo ak sa kanam dinañ leen wax tamit ne rek am nañ perfumes fragrances men's shirts accessories we do dresses as well we do blouses I mean we do shoes name it we do them Skincare Plus 2020 is our year of perfection zero task fi mu nekk nii réew mi fii kenn waratu fi task kenn waratu fi am problème kanam kenn waratu fi am problème yi picca boo ko amee dafa fekk ne rek ñëwuloo ci place bi fii love like fire bring my love like fire
No, ini bara. Okay. Welcome. Basically, lot of lala me along is cool, man. That I can really relax. What the madam? Yeah, what the madam? Yeah. Let me do something. That's right. Grand Villa. Kamu jadi Grand Villa.
That's fine.
Selamat. Yes. No. Bari ni bang.
Yeah, actually, a lot of people are basically me alone because they relax. So basically, I can miss
Ni la fani sewa. Nidia nena Grand Villa is the best guest house in the Gambia.
Beji andika Grand Villa Guest House. Na labungul bebe senyaring adum na bungul bebe nyarandiring coming ibela fila ila suwe taranyame. Ntel Grand Villa na kiliano la lafino wale mukangwati ntel kang. Na ye sabati Grand Villa yela kodo na fa kalamuta.
Oh man, this is like a paradise.
I know.
I so much love this place.
Thank you.
Trust me, I love this place.
You can move somebody and watching what?
Yeah.
I know what Gambia Grand Villa.
I tell you. I love this place. Okay. I love this place, man. Oh yeah.
Ni lefta na kuo keso sotola. Futama Oljuntum Paradise Estate. Mbaya kumandiroke 7527-218. Wale futana website auto www.grandvillaguesthouse.com. Grand Villa Guest House.
Miss B Designer Outlet is the #1 quality and affordable stop shop for all your needs. Get your evening dresses, suit and ties, office wears for both ladies and gentlemen, beach wears, sport wears, pure leather shoes for men, quality belts, bags, heels for all beautiful ladies, original perfumes, accessories, and a lot more. Find us at Kololini Road opposite Gaddafi Mosque at the Aqua Bridge Station, or call us on 295-3411 or 764-2486. Miss B Designer Outlet. Shop right, look good.
welcome back, and we apologize for that breakdown. I think it was due to some technical, some electricity power outage, I should say. And we just pick it up from there. We were on Mr. Dampha's explanation on your inclusiveness in terms of selecting female candidate for Kerr Award. You may finish at that point that you were talking on before I move to Mr. Kerr.
Yeah, very important. As I was saying, like this is like all inclusiveness. You know, we don't want to stereotype or segregate any particular group in the society. So that's why, you know, when Kerr Award, there's 3 contender candidates. One withdraw before the primary. So it left 2 now. So that 2 between the man and the woman, our gay. So we asked them to at least to, you know, be consented on something. Either, you know, somebody can leave somebody, but the man also says, you know, he can leave for the woman to vie in that position. Sure. You know, to show how important, you know, NPP attack when it comes to female participation in decision-making processes. So that was the process at Kerr. It did not go to primary. Awage was emerged as a candidate for NPP for Kerr councillorship.
Okay, so there was some sort of compromise in terms of selections there. Right?
Yeah, between the 2 contended candidates. Okay. You know, the man said that yes, you don't want to push and pull with a woman based on our party's principle. So he deemed it fitting to, you know, leave it for our gay.
Thank you very much for that. I think that compromise was good as far as women participation are concerned. Let's move to Mr. Kerr.
Yes.
Yeah, you have a female candidate as well.
Yeah,
so
we have a female candidate. That's not new when it comes to GDC. We have it as a policy, you know, that we must always support this idea of at least 30% representation coming from you know, the women. And then this is not new to GDC, and like in 2017 parliamentary elections, there were about 14 female candidates entirely in the country, 7 of which came from the GDC. So you see, even 2017 parliamentary election, GDC put up half of the female candidates that contested that election. So that would tell you that this has been, you know, something that GDC believes in, works in. And then the woman that we have there in Kerr, I think this is a woman that that came up to that position because of her responsibilities, her roles that she's been playing in that community. You know, being a teacher, but also somebody that has been, you know, very close to the people, very supportive to the people out there. So that's how it came about that people selected him. So what we make sure we did as a party is that we make sure we have, you know, policies that support, you know, this sort of representation, especially that promotes, you know, because we know as a party, especially in the context of a country where you have about 51% of our population being female. So we cannot just leave them behind. Even when we are serious with development, we have to make sure, you know, we go together, you know, parallelly. To be able to move this country to where it's supposed to be. So actually the truth about all of it is GDC believes in that, and that has been our policy since, in fact, we came in 2016. And like I explained, even like the last parliament elections, we put up half of the female candidates. So that also tells you how serious GDC is when it comes to representation. Yeah, so
that's women empowerment through political representation. Yeah, perfectly right. Yeah, this would go to both of you again. We saw in the draft constitution, which was rejected at Parliament some couple of months ago, and it is in coma, as we say. But the constitution promoted some sort of promoted more women representation at Parliament and even at local government level. So you selecting female candidates for these particular positions, does that resonate with your values of with the constitution that was rejected at Parliament? So are you in essence indicating that you support that particular provision of the constitution which really pushed or promoted high level of women participation at Parliament and even at other political levels?
You know, at our level, we, with or without this constitution, then we make it like a principle, as I said. Maybe very soon our party policies and programs and manifestos and also constitution of the party will be out. It will be spelled there clearly that this quarterly system, what we call quota system, quota system entail more of this marginalized group, being a woman, being disabled people, being, young people, because certain positions, like when you want to select a young person, to that position, people may tend to say, oh, this is a very young guy. So that culture of belief that we want to change the narrative, we want to ensure the all-inclusiveness is the order of the day when it comes to NPP's policies and programs. So the clause of the constitution, the draft constitution, more or less is consolidating a position, or opposition is consolidating that clause. The mindset are the same, our feelings and aspirations are the same, with or without, as I said, it is embedded in our activity, our constitution, in our programs, that all inclusiveness should be order of the day when it comes to NPP. Being a woman, being youthful ages, and old ages somehow, we want to make sure that because every individual will have something to offer. You have something to offer. Being an old man or a youthful age, then you have something to offer. A woman cannot be left behind when it comes to any development in this world. But, there's a culture that we stereotype, our women a lot. This is not for women, this is not for, those things are not man-made. This is not like a natural, or it's not like a nature, all right? We've seen even in the time of Sahabas, some of us that are Muslims, we see the role of women when it comes to religion, Islamic religion. So the first woman to believe in this religion is a woman, and stood firmly to help the Prophet. So you cannot just marginalize that set of a group and you think that it's something that is godly. That is really out of it. It's a man-made phenomenon. So we have to change the narrative. That's why I keep on saying that any of my platform, NPP came to change the narrative in all aspects. Any aspect that we venture in, we'll do it differently. So that's our style.
We shall wait to see when those changes happen. A party at this embryonic stage, very young at this. Yes, let's talk about your target of voters. Women mostly, we said it here, 36 years indicate that close to 52% of the Gambia's population is women, and most of them are voters. They vote, but then I think most of the time that is the only way they participate in politics, officially through voting. But the rest of participation is limited to chanting, clapping, and cooking more often than not. How did you target women voters in both Kerjaga ward and Niamina constituents? In essence, what I'm saying is, how did you ensure that you create that mainstream environment vis-a-vis the electoral laws to ensure that no woman who is eligible to vote is left behind?
Yeah, that's a very good question. I think there is an opportunity missed by all Gambians, especially, we have to be very honest, missed by a woman. And this opportunity was the issue of the draft constitution, like you have just mentioned earlier. We have a draft constitution that had, promoted, the welfare of women in a broad way. So I think as a political party, irrespective of what policies we may have locally in our party, the draft constitution would have supported it and make it very easy in that sense. Nevertheless, as a party, with or without, the draft constitution, as a party, we have policies, that support women empowerment and all that. And also, like, we as a party, we don't see women as people that are weak, and then people that, needs to be at all time, given certain privileges. Gambian women are very strong women. They're not weak people. They're very strong women. And then, like, when it comes to like you said, the voter participation, we all know that Gambian women participate in this electoral process more than the men. We all know that they make majority of our voter list. They make also a majority even in the campaign trail and all that. So their participation is unquestionable. They're always out there. So, but for us, what we do is, like, we always educate, women, especially those that are in the constituencies that GDC is so close to. And then what we always, tell them is like they don't just have to wait for the men to give them a share. They have equal right like us, the men. So they don't have to wait for us to, see what percentage or what chunk we give them. And the women have to stop, listening from that mentality. It's just another patriarchal system where the men want to continue suppressing them in the electoral cycle or electoral process. And that's why they will tell them, yes, you wait, we are going to make sure we support you here and there. No, they are part of the process. Do you see? They are part of the process. So for us as a party, they are always part of the process from the onset. We make the decisions together. We implement the plans, the objectives, whatever we have together. Do you see? So, and then at the end of the day, we all know they participate more than us. So therefore, I think like
by virtue of their numbers.
By virtue of their numbers.
What do you relate that to? When you talk about participation, do you relate that to by virtue of percentage or by virtue of their political consciousness and awareness?
Yeah, I can say by virtue of their political participation, like in the electoral process, like in the activities that runs, the electoral cycle. They are majorities whenever, there are campaign trails. They are the people that form the gatherings. Like somebody had just said, like the clapping and maybe we use other terms to explain their representation, through clapping, dancing, all that. But the actual fact is, wherever there are political platforms, they form the majority. So then when actually politicians are talking about policies and so they sell these policies to them than most of people that are men. So I think like one serious opportunity that we missed is the draft constitution that would have supported this ideology of women representation and participations in the Gambian political system. And actually, as a party, if at any point in time GDC would form a majority in parliament, so we will make sure that their representation will be backed by policies, very robust policies that will continue to support, their participation and their equal treatment in all levels of government.
Perfectly democratic.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Before I move to Mr. Dampha, let me put this to you. I talked about participation. Normally, women don't occupy high positions in most of these political parties and even in other political positions. And let's move a little bit to the voter participation again. If you observe very closely, the Gambia's economy is very informal. And most of the informal activities that happen within the macro or micro economy are done by women. And to that effect, it sometimes limits them to having space, enough space and time to effectively take part in political events like elections or voting. So, and elections in the Gambia are polls are normally opened from 8 a.m. to 5 or 6 p.m. You may correct me if I'm wrong, I think 6 p.m., right? Most women may miss voting during elections because of certain activities that they would have to fulfill during the day. Either to go for work, to provide some food on the table for family. Not only women, but even some other differently abled people, and marginalized groups. Most of them wouldn't have the opportunity to come and vote as they want due to certain structural challenges they face in society. So what is your party doing at your own level to influence the electoral provisions or laws that have demarcated or that have provided this framework of voting time and then the system we see? Like you have to come 8 in the morning. If you miss 8 to 6, you have missed everything. You're not going to vote again. So how do you see those things? What are you doing to that effect?
Yes, I think as a party, we have been engaged in voter sensitization. There are certain things that should be very fundamental to our daily lives and everything we do, especially when it comes to selecting our leaders. It's very important. And then the women also, all of them should understand that this is a very unique time, unique moment. It's like this is a platform where you are asked to just say your word for 5 years. They're telling you have one word to say it now. And that's why whatever somebody is doing, as long as you are in a vicinity where voting is taking place and you can have access to voting, you should vote, you should speak. That's it. So I think like there need to be more sensitization from the political parties, all of us together.
And I agree that,
yeah, we've been doing that as a party. We've been doing that, and then we have a team, an education team, and then from time to time they go round, and then through also our regional committees and all that, you know, we have asked them to make sure these are part of whatever they do, this education. It is important that people vote when they have not only the women but with men as well. Everybody needs to come and vote. This is a constitutional right. This is there's something very fundamental to whatever we want to have as a nation, or whatever we want to build. We must vote. We must make sure, because the way I usually say it is like during elections you stay away, then you don't have the right to say whatever is being done wrongly or in the other way, you know, because the moment you are supposed to be part of the decision makers, you refuse to. So everybody should make sure they engage. We as a party, we've been doing so much, you know, educational programs, you know, sensitization programs, and then we also, even at a national level, do engage or participate through inter-party committees and all that, like other parties will do also when it comes to such education or sensitization or awareness creation.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Mr. Dampha?
Yeah.
As a similar question, women participation in terms of voting during elections normally is inhibited by sort of activities they have to do during the day. I may give you a real life example. A mother might have to go to the NACO, if I may call it that way, to get a lot of work done at the NACO so that she can provide for the family. Wouldn't that be an inhibition to her chances of voting during elections? And how would you address that vis-a-vis electoral laws in the country?
Really, I really have a different view of that of yours, because based on the fact that today, when I ask my people on the ground to give me, you know, the turnout, you know, the turnout that they gave me, the percentage of women's participation in today's election is higher. It's higher. It's even more than 75% of men.
Can you give us the specific percentage?
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. They said like there's a more women participation for today's election to come and vote than men in both Niamina and Kerr, according to my people on the ground. So they say a lot of women came out to vote, and that is a trend. You know, in any what there's a mentality. You know, we have to shy away from it. We have to brush it out of our vocabulary or our thinking capacity. That women are always followers. You know, are always followers here, but in certain position, they should be equally treated. We should be equal. When it comes to development, you know, there's two things that people miss. Biologically, we are not the same. But when it comes to development, we should be the same. Because you have a brain, she has a brain. You can do well, she can do more than you. So, and now, the point is like, despite that women have a lot of workload, fixing the domestic choices at house, or also even be responsible of families' day-to-day affairs, giving out, you know, school fees, lunch, and stuff like that. We see women venturing into all this sector. But despite that, when it comes to election, they participate vigorously than men. Like my colleague rightly said, when there's a gathering, go and count, political gathering, you see women more than men. When there's a queue for voting, go and check. You see women queuing, having person to come and vote than men. So what is that? What is impeding their fully contribution in decision-making process? Me, from my own perspective, it's like that depends on political parties. Because political parties are the one who directly deal with the grassroots people. When it comes to selection, you say, okay, party policy, anybody who want to vie for National Assembly election, like three men, 3 women. 3 men, 3 women. All right? And now, we make sure then, like, Gambia is like 50, is it 53 elected position for now?
Okay.
We make sure if you want to contest in all the constituencies as a party, half of the candidate should emanate from the female rank. You should make them as a compulsory. You are the one who should do your screening and also to nurture talents. Because there's a lot of girls, a lot of women here, they are talented, but they're shy to participate. They feel shy to participate.
But that
because they don't have encouragement.
That issue you mentioned about the 30% and then increment of women participation in or representation has been in the draft constitution, which was rejected at the parliament, and your party was one of those who rejected.
No, that is misinformation. I think there should be clarity when it comes to that. Our party did not ever come out with a statement rejecting that draft constitution. If you have it, you can help me with it. Where the party issue a press release stating its position clearly that yes, we just against this constitution. You cannot find it in anywhere. So saying that the party is the one behind this nullification of it, that is really is not something that is happening. So reality, right? Individuals deserve their opinion. Like you can be working within the system, and you have your opinion. You come out and voice it out. People think that this is the position of everybody. No, we respect the diversity and divergent opinion. We respect it. Me, myself, I have been vigorously campaigning for the adoption of this constitution. I say, despite the fact that there should be a clauses that need to be amended, but holistically, we could not reject it. And I have people also within the party who are in support of me, but some people also against it. That's their diversity, and I have to respect it. Eventually, it goes through the parliament, and we deem it fitting that the parliament is other arms of government. They have an equal right and opportunity to decide without any external interference. Okay. So if the parliament did not see it like this constitution should pass, you cannot just insinuate that in any of the influence or interference of any other political party.
Thank you.
That's going to be subverting the right of the National Assembly.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dampha. That does it for that particular segment of women participation. Let's talk about the campaign messages. More often than not, we see during elections in Gambia, during campaigns, so many things happen that will really not be resonating with our values as a people. Character assassination, derogatory language, demeaning each other, things of that sort usually happen. I want to know from both parties, what were your central campaign messages during the elections or during the campaign in Niamina East and Kejarga Ward? How were your messages framed, and what was the central idea of these messages, and how did that help you to mobilize voters in these elections?
Yeah, I think our messages, especially from my party and then my candidates, really were very peaceful, and then they were very significant in the sense I can quote from our candidate in Niamina West, Yero Jallo. In one of his meetings, I think is somebody who already got an idea of what he's going to do at Parliament. And then in one of his meetings, what he said to the electorates was, I am asking you to send me to the Parliament. I am not in power to give you whatever you want, but I can assure you I will make sure your problems are heard. What needs to be done here will be heard and will be spoken about in the Parliament. But I'm not promising you or telling you that whatever you need, I will also make here. And I think that's somebody who got an idea of what actually he's going to do there. And then he's also cognizant of the fact that at the end of the day, it is Niamina. They are Niamina. They are the people of Niamina, Niamina West. If things go fine, it is good for them. God forbid, if there were a nuisance in that community now, maybe we would be here talking about it. But it will not directly, affect us, or we may be the last at the tail end, the last people that it would feel the repercussion or the effects. So he is also somebody who is very aware of that whatever happens, they are the people of Niamina. And then he also, sent his message, educated the people, because they have seen recently certain promises coming from the side of the NPP. If you go to Niamina, you look at what's happening in Niamina West. It's one of the poorest communities in this country.
Constituencies.
The constituencies. You talk about the road networks, absolutely bad, very poor. Medical services, schools. You see schools there, you don't even expect or believe Gambian children should be going through schools like that. You just cannot define them. So, and then, since, Gambia gained independence to date, the community has been like that. So now, if at this moment in time that promises, pledges are coming, what will be done for them? Do you see it? After they would maybe vote the candidate for NPP. I think that was not a very honest message, and these are messages that I have heard in some of the platforms. But I can tell you, when it comes to GDC, our messages throughout were just very absolutely factual, and it was really we consider the issue of peace messaging, that whatever happens, they are the people of Niamina. They shouldn't allow politicians, especially we that are coming from Kombo, to go and divide them. Irrespective, this is one of the democratic process that we have to go through. Their rights, they have to go through it and then continue living as a community, as people, as families, and so on. So I think this was very, very key in our messaging programs from our candidate and also from other supporters, participants, that joined the campaign trail there from Kombo, and also those that were on the ground.
Thank you very much. Mr. Dampha, we move to you and see your messages, campaign messages, related to the role of the National Assembly members as well as the role of councillors. Probably Mr. Kerr would have to add a little bit of light on that issue of local government authorities, the councillorship there. But I'll come back to that. Tell us about your campaign messages at the Niamina constituency, particularly.
Yeah, so far so good. We are very tolerant. That is our first point of call when it comes to NPP. You have to be tolerant. You shouldn't be temperamental, or you shouldn't be emotional politician. You have to give chance to people to speak their mind. And I think that's two fundamental things that we need to differentiate. Political rhetorics and inflammatory remarks are two different things. You can speak in political language, yes. I have this in plan. When I come to when I win, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. All right? Based on your source. Because it depends on people on the ground to interrogate you, to ask you, how are you going to do that? Because we all know the role of National Assembly, they are limited when it comes to certain development. So if I stand before you, promising you that when you vote me in, I'm going to do this and that and that and that, and really me, I'm very much aware that your limit, that what you are promising me, you cannot do that. I should interrogate, I should ask, I have a question. Sir, how can you do this? Because I know these are not your limit. How are you intend to do this? Because you're promising here. So that also will show a political maturity, and will also put, our candidates into really, they will be vigilant of the maturity of the electorate. So now it's not like a child play anymore. The situation is not like how it is before. Anything that you want to say, you have to be sure of it. Okay, to be abusive languages, unlike what I refer to as inflammatory remarks, tribal bigotries and stuff like that, that will instigate violence, will instigate, intolerance, and also that will bring, mayhem in the society. Those are the things that we all need to, avoid. We cannot do that based on our parochial interests. That can never happen, because peace and tranquility is a public interest. That is not about partisan or any other parochial interest. It's about the public interest. So if you want to infringe upon that, you should be stopped. So that's why it is important for our referees in the political system like IEC to be monitoring our campaign trails, to be sending in their representative to listen to what are some of the remarks that are being said in our political platforms, so that they can also have tapes to review or to replay it, to know which party need to be cautioned. So those are the things. But for me as Essa, I am looking for this. I say, okay, I know that this road, you're suffering, you cannot do it. But when you vote me in, I'm gonna do it. Why? How? Yes, I will be part of the the governing or the party that is in the helm of the affairs. So they will prioritize my concerns so that I can retain my seat. That's politics about interest. It's very dynamic. Today, if the GDC is at the one at the center, they will not leave their National Assembly member to lose their seat because of they cannot support them. They will do whatever it takes to support them, at least so that the people on the ground see their the dividend of voting them in. So that is it. But my bigger concern is don't say anything that will infringe on the peace and tranquility of the general public. I'm out of it. I don't like it.
Thank you very much. That's a very powerful message. Don't infringe upon the peace and tranquility of the people in this country. Let's move to electoral provisions. But before that, I will have to ask you, because he has generalized it in both the constituency level and then the local government level. Talk about your campaign messages. How did you relate your messages vis-a-vis the work of the councillorship?
Yeah, we do, especially in Jokadu, because that's an area, one of the very strongholds of the GDC. And then that's a community, like people that are in Jokadu have felt the touch of GDC. You can list so many villages that are in Jokadu that have benefited in one way or the other from GDC projects. But so, like, I'm just trying to say that it's like that defines our messaging, you know, and then that's there. Also, the candidate that we have there, like I told you, she's a teacher, and then part of her messaging as well has always been telling people what her role would be as a councillor, that they are supposed to make sure developments comes to the district, do you say, the ward, and then that is done, you know, from the local government through the local government, where they also will be sitting representing, you know, the needs of the ward. So that has been part of her messaging, and then I think she is somebody that people believe and trust so much that she could do it, because throughout her life she has been giving her messaging and all that and educating people. So, and I believe that's one of the reasons why it was very easy for her, you know, to send these messages, what her role would be, what she is going to be doing, you know, and why the need, that why is it there a need, you know, for people to send her, you know, to the local government, you know, to represent the ward. Yeah. So actually, what defines our messages there is like sensitizing and educating people about why they need to participate in politics, and also why they carefully need to make sure they select people that really will represent their interest and not their personal interest.
Thank you very much. Brilliant. And let's talk about the electoral provisions right now. We know the IEC does what we call periodic voter registration. Correct me if I'm wrong, 3 years after every 3 years, right? I'm not sure, I don't know. I may miss something out there actually.
Yeah.
And we are all aware that the current electoral laws have been amended. The act has been developed and the bill has been developed, and then would be submitted to Parliament in due course. People that vote, according to the electoral law, in fact, we are seeing people that did not have the voters card in 2015 may not be able to vote in these elections. So how do you think the periodic voter registration process would impact these particular elections?
You mean they will not be able to vote in these Niamina By-Elections, or
people
the
that
2021 election?
2015 that did not register, because I think the last time the IEC did voter registration was in 2015. If I'm correct.
Yeah.
So many people would not be able to vote because of they don't have the voters card at their disposal. So how do you think the lack of voter identity cards would affect these by-elections?
No, I don't. The by-election, yes, it might affect the. Because we know that there's, I don't know, 4,000 something, I forgot, yeah, 70 something, that was the total registered vote. So, but now you will see that, you know, that will decline. Because within that equation, you will see some people travel, some people are not alive, you know, so when you just put all that into reality, that you might see it decline seriously. But what is more important is like before the national election, maybe before then, there'll be another registration, you know, that will occur before the national election. But very unfortunately for this by-election, like, it's something that is really serious, and it may hamper the outcome of the election, because the number that people might expect, you know, should not be there. You know, people might feel disappointed when it comes to the numbers. You know, it really will impact negatively on the voter, you know, turnout of these by-elections.
Okay, brilliant. We all know by-elections can happen anytime.
Yeah.
You know, whenever we may see people resigning from the positions at any time, point in time, and the people might also pass away. So that brings the need for IEC to ensure we have continuous voter registration processes, so that anytime there are elections to be held, by-elections particularly, people would have the access to be able to vote. So what are you doing at the party level to ensure that this process is...
Yeah, really, it is a very brilliant idea. You know, like for instance, we all know, like if, for instance, the National Assembly by-election should held, you know, they will just notify, they will just put it in a public domain that, okay, within 90 days, there should be by-election here. So they could put it upon themselves, you know, at least within 60 days, they do the supplementary voter registration. They can do that in a particular constituencies, you know, because this is not like the whole country. It could happen in like a very tiny area whereby you have less than 30,000 people residing in those areas. So that could also be factored in the new electoral laws, so that, periodical, voter registration, when needs arise, really it will be a very brilliant idea to encompass everything, things like that. Yeah, really, I buy that idea very well.
Okay, that's very brilliant. I will put a similar thing to Mr.
Yeah. I think that's a salient point you talk about there, and then the suggestion you made, some sort of a continuous registration, voter registration process. I think is also a very brilliant idea. Nevertheless, I'm not expecting this turnout to be lower than the past election or so in either way, because it was a very serious, really battleground. People have been motivated in many different ways, through the messaging from either GDC group, UDP or NPP, and others NPP affiliate groups also. So I think people have been, really warmed up by the messaging, by the activities that were going on, but also by the interest that the entire nation, turned towards those two areas. So really, I'm not expecting, the turnout to be lower than the previous election. I'm even expecting it could be even better than the last parliamentary election. The turnout can be better than the last parliamentary election. But either way, as a party, like you have talked about, propose, amendments in the Electoral Act also, as a party, through the inter-party committee and so on, whatever we feel that needs to be incorporated, in what would be the amended electoral laws whatsoever, we make sure it is sent through to the IEC, to the whoever responsible through the inter-party committee. We will make sure our voice is heard through the inter-party committee. Yeah, for any amendments that are supposed to be done in the Electoral Act also. But actually, in reality, I don't expect this to be some sort of the lowest turnout that we may call. I expect it could be one of the best turnout that would happen this time. Because of, like I said, the participation is unique. The battle that took place this time, I think, is also unique. Compared to the previous one, because this were a situation where each of these parties, centered their energy or most part of their energy within the periods, in those particular very small communities. So I believe that would energize, the people of those communities to come out and vote. So I'm expecting maybe a little better number.
Yeah, a bit more specific questions regarding the electoral laws. We talked about the issue of continuous and periodic voter registration process. Aside those two specific issues in the electoral law, what do you recommend as a party to be done in terms of changes in the electoral law in the build-up to the 2021 presidential elections? Do you observe any sort of lacunae or gap that you think should be addressed?
Me, for my own take, I just want to this sport counting to be remain. That's my number one. I don't know what the outcome might be. I don't come across the amendment of what the IC did, because it's not yet tabled before the National Assembly. But for my own take is let us leave the sport counting there, and also the issue of this paper ballot and the tokens, marbles. So it should be, very clear, spell it out very clearly to everybody. When we want to shift from the marble, yes, I really concord with the IEC in that aspect, because they say the plural democracy, participation of electorate or participation of the participant in the electoral cycle is huge. It's then, and that is what is expected in any plural democracy. So if they want to bring in all these boxes and stuff like that, it's going to be like costing. So in order to cut the cost, then they deem it fitting to come with this paper ballot system, so that one box or two, ballot box or two can fit in the entire polling center or something like that. So that will cut the cost, in big term. But also there should be an implications. The whole process, the whole idea, shifting from this one to another, is about to give in fair, to give people they are franchised. Let them not be disenfranchised. And one of the way that to disenfranchise somebody is to impose something on him or her that is make him confused. Will not know what to do, and every day he may decide to even abdicate his function to stay away from voting. So if you want to introduce this paper balloting, it is the high time for you to come out and sensitize people and also engage parties. All the parties should be given they should be funded, to make sure that they sensitize their supporters at the grassroots level to know, exactly how to do about this paper balloting. If that is like cannot be held, then that means we should continue with this marble until then. So that's my reservations that I have when it comes to these two positions.
Thank you very much. We are really running out of time. I will just give you 50 seconds to proffer some recommendations to be used as solutions to the lacuna you observe in the electoral provisions.
Yes, the electoral provisions. I think like my colleague there was saying, there is a system, the spot counting and all that, and it has been proven realistic over the years, and then especially looking at the outcome of 2016 election, I think also prove to the whole world that it is reliable, for it conformed to democratic principles and all that. And also there is always this problem of a change. When change is coming, many people would be very scared about it because we actually don't know what the change will bring. And I think this is also something that all political parties are worried about. But there are certain fundamental issues that I believe that as a party we will not allow, even if anybody were to propose it. And that is the issue of the spot counting. Whatever adjustment, change also that will come through the process, something as important as the spot counting, that one GDC as a party will not compromise.
So you want this spot counting to
that
remain?
one will not be compromised.
You want it to remain?
Yes, wherever people vote, it's counted there. The people that voted know also the outcome of that spot in which they have voted. So that's very key. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you very much, both of you, for those wonderful remarks. Now we would have to pick one or few questions because we are very close to ending the show. Is the Kerr Fatou we are coming to you live, and this is the IRI funded town hall live on Kerr Fatou, hosted by myself, Mohamed Sise, and with me in this platform today is Mr. Amadou from the PRO of GDC and Mr. Essa Dampha, who is also a member of the National People's Party, and we are discussing the by-elections in Kerr Ward, Jokar District, the process related, as well as the Niamina West constituency elections, by-elections happening today. Let's pick one question here straight on from the stream. This one goes to Essa. It's Q&A now, and he's asking, how did you select your candidate? Because he was made to understand that Biram participated in the primary of the GDC and was later at the NPP primary as well.
No, that wasn't the case. Maybe he misconstrued the two. There's a person called Asi So, who was from GDC. He participated in GDC primary and he lost. So I don't know what happened. He shifted his allegiance to NPP. But Biram never participated in GDC's primary.
Okay, so
Biram never
participated in GDC's
the one who participated in GDC's ticket was later not been selected or not been elected for, I don't know, for the seat on the GDC ticket. That was Asi So. So eventually he just jumped the ship to NPP.
To NPP. Okay, that's very straight. Let me just get this. How did he know so many people voted for NPP? You mentioned something like so many people voted for NPP, something like that. Someone is asking, how do you know that? Did you do any sort of survey?
I don't think I really said so here, that because the outcome of the the voting is not yet known. We are anticipating, that we will win in landslide. I cannot just underestimate our win, and our margin. Yes, that's what we are anticipating. Depending on the what we've seen in the ground and the work that we've done. Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. I think these are. It says the names of the candidates' villages in Niamina West. he's asking the name, the villages where these candidates come from. Can you please help on that? I think that's very basic.
Yes,
your candidate's village.
Yes.
Yero, Jalo.
Yero, yes. Anyway, I usually, you know, he's from 2 areas anyway. So, but actually, we just call, you know, things that he's representing the constituency, you know, because there are, you know, very important families, you know. So we will not just want to associate him to a particular area and so on. Yeah.
Okay, so you don't want to reveal where he comes from?
No, that's not the case. You know, I just after election you get
Okay. So how about your candidate NPP?
I cannot recall, you know, actually the name of the village he held from. I cannot recall that one.
Okay, I think that does it for the corrections here. Let me scroll down and see if we have a few more corrections. No, I'm not sure. Yeah, there are no corrections here. These are not really specific. Yes, Mr. Kerr and Mr. Dampha, we have arrived at the climax of the panel. So I will give each of you a minute to share your final views or messages today, particularly to the voters out there in relation to the 2 elections that are happening today in Jokadu and Niamina East.
Yes, I would just say I hope voters would vote wisely, and then I know everybody would have to some affiliation with a party or with a person, but at the end of the day, most key than the parties and the parties is voting people that will really represent, you know, the needs, the aspirations of the communities that they are going to represent. And I believe, you know, not only this one, but I will also, you know, viewers or anybody that will be voting in the future in the Gambia, it is time, high time, that we start making decisions, you know, voting people that will really represent the needs of the people, you know, because we have seen since last elections, you know, people moving from here and there. I cannot just absorb the issue like a community picks you, vote you in, and then you go in somewhere and then see something that you believe may be better for you, then you leave them behind and go your way. It's so really, and then at the end of the day, what it does is it brings some sort of misrepresentation at the national level. Yes, the reason why we have these candidates coming from various parties is so that the representation will filter down to the communities. If a party have 20 seats in the parliament, that means, as an example, if that's a percentage, that means 20%, you know, of the population are supporting that party or the ideologies of that party. So that being remain will continue, will stabilize really the actual narration in the parliament. But if they would go and then change here and there, it alters what actually was happening on the ground. So people must vote, you know, based on, you know, people that will really represent their need. Yeah.
People must vote based on people that will really represent their needs. That's the voice of Mr. Amadou from GDC. Thank you very much for coming to this platform. Questions are streaming in, but I don't think we have time to answer these questions really. And I think 2 are already for answer, but I don't really have luxury of time to answer those questions. Your final message to the listeners or viewers out there?
Yeah, politics is very dynamic, and we also have to respect tolerance and each other's diversity. Let us not be emotional politicians. We know this is a country, belongs to all of us. Let us exercise patience and tolerance. And also, as I know now, the polls are already about to close. So, and I'm anticipating a very big win. And I'm advising my fellow NPP supporters, as far as Biram is declared winner, there shouldn't be like sort of much jubilation or, you know, caricaturing people down here and there. You know, it should be like Niamina is the one that had won. It's not about Biram or something like that. Let us embrace everybody. We embrace GDP people. They are from the same community. They are from the same family, and we stand together to move Niamina West forward, and also Gambia in general. So that's my but to engage ourselves in like sort of a violent activities or caricaturing people, that's is not called for, and that's not the dictate of our interim Secretary General and the party leader, which is President, His Excellency President Adam Barrow. So I thank you very much, and I thank my friend, Mr. Kerr,
thank you too.
for being part of the panel, and all our viewers down there, and that we could not able to exhaust all the questions.
Definitely.
But maybe this is not going to be the last time to be here. I thank you very much. Kind following.
Thank you very much, Mr. Essa. Dampha from the NPP, and we say elections usually are not violent-free, particularly in Africa. Usually we see most elections are marred with violence, pre-elections, during elections, even post-elections. But we have to remember this message, that no nation can claim legitimacy when its people are disinterested in affairs of the state. The legitimacy of the state cannot be determined so long as people don't have interest in issues of national concern. I think everyone has a right, not a privilege, to actually go out there and vote peacefully, and if you win, if your candidate wins, celebrate in a very peaceful manner. Violence-free elections during and post-elections, and even before elections. And that's all we got time for. This was the town hall meeting online brought to you by IRI, through the Fatou network, Kerr Fatou online TV, and I was your moderator, or lead panelist here, Mohamed Sise. And until we come your way with another interesting town hall meeting on another interesting topic, it's a bye from us.
Love like fire. Wow. Love like fire. Xam ngeen rek affaire bi xam ngeen fan la? Skincare la. 2020 lañ wax de. Waaw. Fii nag mooy Kerr fan, Kerr zero tache. Perfect skin. Skincare saa su ne rek niñ ko dee defee rek. Loo lañ soxlaati rek. Maanaam bu ngeen am problème ci seen skin ngeen xam ngeen fan la fii ngeen di ñëw suma xarit yeeg am di jàmm yi nga xam ne taas daf lañ sonaloon xam nga doon xeesal ba laka xum éneew ma lañ ko nag waaye just in case comme ni ko gars yi di waxee rek en cas just in case loolu xew xam ngeen fi ngeen di ñëw Skincare Plus si yu baax rek la ñoo dox nag ay baax rek fu ne la ñoo dem ci réew mi di lañ indi rek nag products yu baax du Paris du Italie du USA du fi mu nekk nii sax boole nañ ci nag Sweden fu nekk lañ leen a indilee products bu dee tamit nag da nga ñuul rek ñu lay jamaa natural beauty that melanin dripping we do have stuff for you as well emuñ si skincare products rek ñu ngi ci cuub yi tamit fu ne la ñoo jaar in fact sax last commercial bi ñu defoon waxuñ leen woon ne dañoo dox ci ay kawar 9A grade rek nag waaw we do have bundles as well hair si lu ne la ñoo dox ñun ñu ngi ci rafetal jigéen rek luy taaral jigéen rek waaw boo leen di tukki tamit bëggoon rek classic suitcase ñu dañoo dox ci ay Samsonite duñ dee indi any brand of suitcases though other than Samsonite comme li ma dee wax rek boo eggee airport dëri Samsonite dafa am nuñ laa xoolee waaw ngeen lan nag waaw skin ci moom la ñu gën a xamee nag skincare products ci moom la ñu gën a xamee ñu ngi dox tamit bentey tamit si ay dàlla waaye man nag skincare mooy suma specialty xam nga rek jigéen bu sa xar kanam réglé loo def mu jet am nañ Patricia Reiner Kiwi Eye the whole range Lighten Up Gold Tomatine I mean the list can just go on and on and on and on lépp loo xam ne rek luy taaral jigéen la ci yooyu rek la ñoo dox Skincare Plus nag emuñ si Gambia rek ñu nga United States ñu ngi Gambia fii ba pare bu dee yaa ngi anywhere in Europe mun nañ la ko mail within 3 days rek ñetti fan rek nga jot say diw emuñ si loolu rek dañ laa consult tamit balaa ñu laa jaay diw dinañ def a free consultation pour wax la rek exactly li nga xam ne moo méngoo ak sa kanam dinañ leen wax tamit ne rek am nañ perfumes fragrances men's shirts accessories we do dresses as well we do blouses I mean we do shoes name it we do them Skincare Plus 2020 is our year of perfection zero tax fi mu nekk nii réew mi fii kenn waratu fi tax kenn waratu fi am problème kanam kenn waratu fi am problème yu picca boo ko amee dafa fekk ne rek ñëwuloo ci place bi fii.
Love like fire. Bring my love like fire.
No, ini bara. Alright, okay. Welcome. Basically, lot of lala me along is cool, man. That I can really relax. What the madam? Yeah, that's what the madam? Yeah, let me just somebody. That's right. Grand Villa. Grand Villa. That's fine. Salaam alaikum. Yes. No. Yeah, actually, a lot of people are basically me along very relaxed. So basically, I can understand. Very relaxed. Nina Fani say what? Nidia, Nena Grand Villa is the best guest house in the Gambia.
Beji andikam Grand Villa Guest House. Na labungul bebe senyaring adu na bungul bebe nyarandiring coming ibe la fila ila suwe taranyame. Until Grand Villa na kiliano la lafino wale mukamwati intel kang. Na ye sabati Grand Villa yela kodo na fa kalamuta.
Oh man, this is like a paradise.
I know.
I so much love this place.
Thank you.
Trust me, I love this place.
You come to somebody and watching what?
Yeah.
I know the Gambia. Grand Villa.
I tell you. I love this place. Okay. I love this place, man. Oh yeah.
Ni lefta na kuo keso sotola. Futama Oljuntum Paradise Estate. Mbaya kumandiroke 7527-218. Wale futana website auto www.grandvillaguesthouse.com. Grand Villa Guest House.
Miss V Designer Outlet is the #1 quality and affordable stop shop for all your needs. Get your evening dresses, suit and ties, office wears for both ladies and gentlemen, beach wears, sport wears, pure leather shoes for men, quality belts, bags, heels for all beautiful ladies, original perfumes, accessories, and a lot more.